cried the sparrow.
You're listening to the Sailing into Oblivion podcast, where we sit down with everyday people who do extraordinary things. I'm your host, Jerome Rand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are back. Back. Dry land is not a myth. And I am, well, technically I'm still floating because I am aboard this beautiful West Sail 32, but I am connected to land. We're tied off via springs, bow, stern line, all that sort of stuff. Wow. 16 days at sea. Pretty brutal motion of the ocean this morning, trying to get out of the Gulf Stream and head over here to Fort Pierce. Wow. I mean, I'm raising a tall one for just a great and fantastic trip. Love it. And, tomorrow I plan on sitting down with Mark, the owner of this vessel, and also the very esteemed graduate of the Sailing into Oblivion School of Seamanship, or as I like to call it, soy sauce. And yeah, get it, like SIOSOS, soy sauce. So, soy sauce is full on. We are totally unaccredited by any governing body except for myself. And essentially this was what I like to call the ocean passage maker. And what I'm sort of laying out as far as that tier in the coaching scheme of things goes, it's essentially any trip that is over 1,000 miles nonstop, offshore and well out of sight of land. And we definitely did that and more. We almost made 2,000 miles on this last trip, but I don't want to get in too much detail because Mark and I are going to pick it apart tomorrow, which should be a lot of fun. And I'll post that one so that you all will get something to listen to while I am on the next voyage, which I am leaving for tomorrow, aboard the little old West Sail that could, the mighty Sparrow. Yes, in fact, it's time to start making way north. No rest for the weary here, folks. So essentially, it's kind of funny if we dial back a little bit, the schedule, and this is not me trying to make excuses for the gigantic gap since the last episode. I apologize for that, but there was literally nothing I could do. I can only record so much, and barring we didn't end up stopping in Bermuda, so essentially that was kind of my game plan, was to upload there, but that just obviously didn't happen. So I think this is the biggest gap in podcast episodes for couple of years, actually. So wow. Hopefully I get my act together and maybe pocket a few of these podcasts, maybe some interesting subject ones. You can hear me repeating my words. I'm that exhausted. Yes, a little sunburnt, little no rest for the weary. But anyway, if you go back to, I don't know, I guess it would have been end of March, go to San Diego, do 5 days out there, shout out Justin, what's up, man? I definitely want to give you a shout. That was super fun. It was like a whirlwind. Loved Southern California. Can't wait to get back out there. Let's sail out to Hawaii. You could be the next ocean passage maker graduate. I'm going to make certificates and everything. Now, we'll do Catalina Island first. Well, do that, and then essentially flew directly here, got on this boat at 3 a.m. We did safety checks, one night of sleep, and then we were off in the morning. 16 days out at sea. We get back this morning. Tomorrow, I am going to go and try and wrap up a million little things on Sparrow before then heading over to a fuel dock, putting some diesel in her lovely tanks, and then heading off from Fort Pierce for the Big Blue once again, making way up north. Just north in the Carolinas is where Sparrow's going to be hanging out for the summer. I have to, unfortunately, get a little a little less, I don't want to say cryptic, but a little less specific with locations, because I'm starting to get some weird emails, folks. And, every once in a while, and on this trip, I eventually started getting emails from my bank, which my card numbers or whatever got grabbed, and there was lots of Uber Eats and lots of this and the other thing charged on it. Luckily, I was able to put a stop to it because we had Starlink on board this time. And, but yeah, a little worrisome, when you're getting emails every single day. There was a whole slew of them. So I don't know. Maybe it's not the smartest thing to divulge when I am leaving and will be offshore for a while. And, I don't know. I gotta think about this. I really do. But hopping on Sparrow, we're going to sail up north for a little ways, and then I'm basically getting off Sparrow, packing her up, and then I'm off to the Chesapeake Bay for another 5-day session up there, which is going to be awesome with Scott. And then after that, we're headed up to Michigan to put together some small boats, do a little family time, all that sort of stuff before we hop up there to Lake Superior and jump on that. There's a lot of firsts going on this year. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know. I had some definite thoughts about enjoying the ride. There were a few instances, and again, we'll get into the more specific stuff tomorrow. But there were a few times where, the winds and the environment wasn't really letting us do what we wanted to do, impeding us, if you will. And I kind of had to keep reminding myself, like, yes, okay, we're tacking sort of back and forth here. We're not making a lot of ground as far as where we want to go. But it's a beautiful day. We're on a sailboat. There's wind. We're sailing. And maybe you ought to just take a gander at the world around you, take a deep breath and say, hey, you know what? Let's just enjoy this time. And I know it's not easy. It's frustrating as hell when you're trying desperately to get from point A to point B, or you have the expectation of being able to just plow right through, and then all of a sudden you're slowed down to a halt. I know, I get it. And I deal with that constantly. But then, this whole idea of perspective, constantly trying to check your perspective on the situation that's frustrating you are dealing with, and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. It's something that the more I think about it, the more I realize how much time I kind of wasted already in my life being frustrated, upset, all this sort of stuff, when I could have said, okay, we can't change this, so why not at least enjoy whatever we can out of this situation. Now, granted, I know there's some situations you can't enjoy at all, but it is one of those things where if you get creative with it, I like to use this one as an example. The dentist. Obviously, it's not the most fun 45 minutes of your life every 6 months to a year, whatever you do, but having no dental care when I'm out at sea, or that 1 year in the BVI when I chipped a tooth, but I couldn't do anything about it, and I kind of knew that I was going to be in trouble when I got back, but I didn't want them to just pull the tooth, sort of thing. So essentially not having access to that dental care, that gives me a different perspective when I'm sitting in that chair and they're cleaning my teeth and they're saying, oh, we might do this, we might do that, because we want to do preventative or whatever. And I'm kind of like, boy, I sure am lucky here. I could be on Sparrow in some desolate part of some ocean trying to figure out whether to use tin snips or vice grips or a screwdriver to pop this tooth out of my head because it hurts so bad. That's what I mean by perspective. And, let's throttle it back a little from that extreme example and maybe dial into, like the other day where we're sailing and we're trying to make way, trying to get out to the Gulf Stream, cut across and everything, and the wind's just in our face, and the currents are not going with us. So we're just not making any way, and we basically tack back and forth on the same line. Spend, 6 hours, something like that. But it was beautiful. Gorgeous day. I mean, blue sky, beautiful blue ocean. The boat's sailing well, not powered up. We're just basically kind of biding our time until the wind shift occurred. And, we're kind of moping around the deck for a while, like, dang, when's this wind shift coming? And yeah, I think finally we kept saying we kept reminding each other, like, dude, at least it's windy, at least it's beautiful, at least it's this, at least that. And it sort of is one of those things. I think it just takes a little practice sometimes, but more than that, it really takes noticing and being aware of, like, oh, I'm being a big old stick in the mud. Oh, I'm being a real tough customer. I'm being a lay down Larry. And I don't want to be that guy. Let's be a Brightside Bill or a Happy Henry. I could probably do that for hours, coming up with different names. Geriatric Jerome. Oh no, that's me. My back. Ow, my back, my neck and my back. Oh, I was feeling it on this trip. Oh, delicious. But so I don't know. It was just one of those things where it was food for thought. And whenever I'm out there at sea, it seems like these lessons hit home a whole lot more for some reason, especially when it comes to the old dome, the old brain ski. And yeah, I tried just not to forget them, not just get back to land and get distracted by all the pretty things, and just kind of go with it and try and learn from it and do better. What we were told as kids back in the 80s. Yeah, that's pretty good, but do better. All right, well, bring it on. So, having said that, yeah, so we're going there, and we're doing all these things, and this coaching stuff has been great. It's really, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm full in. I don't know legally what is, because I think I'm doing a pretty good loophole here, where essentially I am signing on to your vessel as your crew. And so responsibility lies with the captain. And I just happen to be a very experienced crew member who can then impart a lot of the wisdom that I have gained over the years and miles, if you will, and ocean crossings. And that's going to be my sailing school. I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to make certificates, and I'm going to make tiers. As far as, I'm going to make all my students cry. No, I'm not going to make I want to make tiers of, like, levels, like coastal cruiser. I'm going to get a little more creative with that because let's all, I think we can all admit sometimes the sailing world can be a little dull, a little old school. So I think we're going to do, like coastal stuff and, offshore sailor, passage making, and then ocean crossing and, all that sort of stuff and kind of break it down into what we do and what we teach and all that sort of stuff. And the best part is, it's going to be working with the people I want to work with and not, I don't know. It just takes all the things that were a little bit, I don't want to say annoying, but pestering about sometimes being a sailing instructor and kind of wiping those right out and being able to do what you really love, which is sharing the experience. And my goal obviously would always be to take a captain and their vessel, make sure they're safe, number one, make sure they are enjoying themselves, number two, and number three, make sure they're confident to go out there and refine and improve their skills on their own without yours truly on board. And I cannot tell you how fulfilling and how wonderful it is to watch especially over a number of days, and in some cases like this one, a number of different years, really, where we've worked together from the beginning, and it's just so cool. Like, I can't wait to tell some of the stories that we got, but literally, dude, last night we were hove to, repairing a rudder. he's like down there hanging off of this thing, getting splashed in the water, like just manhandling this thing back together, so we could keep going. Like, it was great. It was really great. It was like a Captain Ron moment. I don't want to even say anymore because it's a spoiler, but yeah, it was really, really good, and I'm feeling awesome. I mean, as exhausted as I am, I'm definitely feeling super stoked. I'm actually pretty excited, too, to hop aboard the old Mighty Sparrow. It's going to be a bit of a time crunch. I'm not going to lie. This is what we call a quick turnaround if I'm able to get out of here. I have to get to the destination, which is about 400 miles away. I think I have 5 days to do it. Maybe 6. If I leave tomorrow, I have 6 days. If I leave on Saturday, I have 5 days, I believe. Let me look at this calendar. Did I give myself an extra day? I hope I did. Because I really could use like one whole day to get Sparrow ready and go fuel her up and all that sort of stuff. Okay, today is Thursday. So if I leave Saturday, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So if I leave tomorrow, I've got 6 days to do 400 miles. The weather forecast looks fantastic. Downwinder and, broad reaching, all that sort of stuff. 15 to 20 knots tops, ideally. And the opportunity to go out into the Gulf Stream and rip that old surly beast a couple of days. So chances are... We're gonna just bull through what we can tomorrow, and then if we are ready, then we're ready. I've already put in my order with Instacart. Essentially, the big things are the grocery shopping, so that's done. That's all going to get delivered here tomorrow in the morning, and throw some of it in the fridge. Ice cold BLs, and by BLs, this pertains to you, Justin. I mean Bush Lights. Got to clarify that one. I was honored to see a refrigerator with BLs in it. They were just the wrong BLs. I'm not Shane Gillis. I'm Jerome Rand. Bush Light. All right. But thank you anyway. I'm not trying to say anything there. But you can keep your ice cream. That's for sure. So all that stuff's going to come. And then, essentially the one thing that's, I've got my main halyard jumped my jib halyard. So I got to deal with that. So I got to climb the mast, but that's okay. I got to do a little inspection up there anyway. Sails, everything are good. Batteries should be good. I was able to hop on board about 3 weeks ago and just check it out. If refrigeration is good and... it should be. Sparrow's like just sitting, waiting, poised all the time to just charge hard to the high seas. So I'm not too worried about that, but I do want to make sure everything's safe, everything's clean, everything's ready. There's not like an explosion of mold, but if there is, I'm still going to go. I'm just going to bring some vinegar. Oh, I got to add that to the Instacart. So let me just mark that down. One more thing to do. Great vinegar. If I'm going to be living aboard the boat and be, sailing on it, and I need to do some cleaning once I'm, the coast is clear and there's no more shipping or anything like that, I'd rather clean with vinegar and water than some chemical action. So, yeah. The halyards, got to sort those out. The big one, though, the one that I'm sort of like, can I get this really sorted, is the bottom. And I have snorkel cleaned the bottom quite a few times in the open ocean. I'm going to do this here in Fort Pierce while I'm on this dock. But, I figure if I can get 80% of it, if I can get 50% of it, depending on how bad it is, I just want to make sure that Sparrow is as swift as possible. It's pretty hard, though, to really get deep down and do well on the full keel and all that sort of stuff if you're just snorkeling. But ideally, if I can get the water line, if I can get a big portion of it, that should be good. So I'm slotting like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours for that. get everything else situated, sorted, and then just head over to the fuel dock and put a little fuel on because I gotta be getting pretty low on there. They're like the never-ending tanks. They just it seems like when I'm like, oh man, it's gotta be. But when you run an engine, when you reach your hull speed at 1,000 RPMs, it's sort of like, well, you're barely gonna be drinking any water. I don't even think I burn half a gallon an hour. I think I'm like, I hate to say it, but I think I'm like a third of a gallon an hour. It just goes and goes. So 60-gallon capacity, and it might be 70. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I've never, no. Sorry, it's 60. It's 60 gallons. I think back to the go around the world. I emptied those tanks. I know exactly what's in them. I am kind of mumbling here. I am pretty tired. We're gonna hit the hay. Very productive though. I had to do a bunch of phone calls. Shout out to all the people that I talked to today. That was a lot of fun. We're setting things up. We're getting ready. We're full steam ahead for the summer. I cannot wait to hit up late June and mid-July. We got the Chicago to Mackinac race, folks. We're going to get a lot of good content out of that. I have a feeling. The Dabbler is joining us. Shout out to Dobbs. And it's going to be a hoot. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be ridiculous. We're going to do some training. Joseph, I hope you are ready to have a microphone thrust into your space because, you definitely are coming on the show. We're getting deep. We're getting into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it's we're going to do training. We're going to rip Lake Michigan as long as, caveat, the weather forecast is good, cuz don't forget that when I agreed to do it, I said as long as the weather forecast is good. Now good to me though just means it's not forecast to below, force 10 out there or force 8 or force 7 maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to go that light wind. But if it was one of the light wind races, which a lot of them are, that's my forte. I like sailing on a vapor because it's I see it as this beautiful, lovely dance, this art form that you get to do. We got to do quite a bit of it on this trip, in between the squalls and the galloping over the high seas. But I don't know. There's just something so amazing about a breath of wind and capturing it and working with the swell and getting everything sorted so that all of a sudden, maybe only be blowing 6 knots, but you're doing 4. And it's amazing. You're just cutting through the water. Absolutely love it. But, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say that's going to make a whole lot of sense. And again, I don't want to just sit here and spoil the next show that I'm about to put out with Mark, where we get into all the goings on in the last 16 days. But it's good to be back on land. It's good to... I want to say I'm going to get a good night's sleep, but I know I'm not. I'm going to sleep for like 3 hours. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be like, I'm probably try and do something, bide my time a little bit, and then I'm probably going to get a little more sleep, and then it's going to be an early morning. I'm hoping to go for a little run, although I doubt that's going to happen because I don't have my shoes, and there's glass. There's always glass on the roads down here. I don't know what that's all about. Not that my feet could ever stand up to. It's been so long. In the Caribbean, at the bitter end, all those years, I was always barefoot. My feet were as tough as nails. I could run on the pavement. I one night ran from Spanish Town, and if you're familiar with Virgin Gorda, I ran from Spanish Town up over the hill, and then I think finally somebody picked me up just before the Bond, which is quite a few miles on a very rough asphalt road up a mountain, essentially, in the middle of the night, under a full moon. Half in the bag, not going to lie. Good times, when we were young. But I don't know. It's just, it's feeling good. We're feeling positive. We're feeling, it's kind of like, right now I have that high of like just finishing an epic trip, and then I've got the anticipation and nervousness about hopping on another boat and and it being Sparrow and jumping out off into the ocean yet again. Now I am regretfully, it's such a short time frame that there were a few people that I was trying to hopefully get to go on this trip with me, because it's kind of not a coastal trip, but it's an inshore trip, if you will. I don't know how you would describe it. Less than 100 miles out, sort of thing, for the vast majority of it. And so there's going to be a lot of traffic, and a second person is great. And there's a couple people that I really want to get on Sparrow, but unfortunately, it's all such short notice that I don't think it's going to work out. But I am going to make some phone calls and see if something can happen. But if it doesn't, then you know what? We're gonna get to that when we can. You know, there's only so much we can do. I think that is one of the other lessons that I often kind of learn out there on the old seas is that, you know, you can do your best, but you're not superhuman, and that's okay. Nobody really is. We're just gonna kind of do what we can do and go where we can go and give it our best. And sometimes it's just not in the cards, and that's okay, as long as you don't dwell on it and maybe try and figure out a way to make sure that is in the cards in the future. Wow. Deep words coming out of J. Rome today. Wow. There's like an exhaustion feeling, but in a very good way. I do have to seriously wean myself off of this coffee. I mean, I was having a lot of coffee out there. Delicious. Loved every minute of it. But it was getting a little out of hand. You know, we did 3 on, 3 off, 4 on, 4 off during the day. And so you've got essentially between 4 or 5 watches each day, and then a pretty tall cup of the old Joe every time for old J-Rome. And the caffeine has been coursing through my veins for quite some time. I'm waiting. I only had like 1 cup today. Well, no, let's be honest. I had 2, but I haven't had one in close to 10 hours, and I don't have a splitting headache yet. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to suffer from the caffeine deprivation, but I'd like to get back to my old routine. You know, in the morning, 1 cup, maybe 2. And by cup, I mean, you know, whatever 20-ounce tumbler. I don't know what is that 2 cups? I don't know. Who's judging, right? So anyway, I'm super stoked to be back. More podcasts to come. Good content. Unfortunately, we did have issues. I did a couple of shows out there where I had the mic, I had the little furry cover for it. I went up to the bow, I recorded, and then I checked the audio, and it's not good. There's a lot of glitch and a lot of that sort of thing, and so essentially one of the issues there isn't really great spots to be able to hook these mics up so they're sturdy, they're not moving, and you don't get the glitch, and be able to power this boat, because it was a little bouncy out there for a good portion of it. And when it wasn't bouncy, a lot of times we were motoring. We had some big calms out there too. So unfortunately, I'm going to worm my way through what I did record, but we didn't record too much. Hopefully some of it will be entertaining and salvageable more than anything, and I'll try and plug some of that together at some point once I get back to land. But you know, when we're on Sparrow, obviously we'll be able to sort all that out. We get a pretty good system aboard that one. But yeah, it is. I'm starting to really realize. Yes, I'm gonna get the old mics. I'm gonna, for sure. That's going to be a top priority to replace these old gals that have done a great job. I'm not going to lie, great job for the last 200 episodes or something like that. But it is time to not only replace but upgrade and try and bring a little better quality. I don't know about the recording device. I think that thing is working fine. I don't really know. I would really hate to find out that the microphones are in great shape, but the recording device is on its last leg. That sure wouldn't be great, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. On episode 333 or whatever, I don't know what it is. So anyway, thank you all. Ooh, geez, bounce it. Thank you all so very much for listening and sticking with the old show, even with the big gap there in episodes. But like I said, we will be bringing it back, and I'm gonna try harder. You know, there's that whole one of my favorite sayings that I used to say to all my staff. Anybody listening that might have worked with me back in the day would probably remember me saying something that goes along the lines of, excuses are the building blocks of a house of failure. And, you know, at its root, all it is don't make excuses. Just own it and figure out a way not to have to do that again and move on. So, you know, I like to, you know, when I dropped that mast up at Night Marine and you know, cost the company, gosh, I don't know how much money, and it was super scary and blah, 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 and there was a lot of work to be done and all that sort of stuff. When I talked to my boss, the first thing I said is that will never happen again. Guaranteed. And, you know, I think that when you screw something up pretty bad, it's pretty easy and it's first instinct to sort of be like, well, but or you no, hey, but yeah, but and I think that's okay. That's totally natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you can fight that and you can think about it for a hot second, the person who you're trying to dole out these excuses to probably really more than anything just wants to hear, that ain't gonna happen again. I got it. Lesson learned. Done. I know that's how I would. That's what I would like to hear. I don't know. Gosh, the wisdom. It's just, it's bubbling. It's bubbling forth. Obviously, in a bit of a goofy mood. Oh, man. It's almost sunset time. I'm going to head up to the old cockpit that I've been sitting in for the last 2 weeks and enjoy one more sunset aboard this beautiful West Sail 32 before I completely crash out and get some well-deserved rest. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time.